right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to be tackling this whole AI thing
Oh, yeah.
and its impact on the economy, which
Big one.
it is a big one. I mean, is it going to revolutionize things, or it's going to, like, wreck everything?
Yeah, the economic apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. And we're basing this deep dive on an episode of Tectonic Shifts, which is always a great podcast. I think some really interesting perspectives on this.
I really liked how they had a good mix of people.
Yeah.
I mean, they had an economist who specifically focuses on AI, so...
Yeah, an AI economist.
It's right, Dr. Sharma. And then they also had, like, a tech entrepreneur, so you get both sides of it.
Yeah, so you get the, the hard numbers, the data, and then...
A doom and gloom.
yeah, exactly, like the pie in the sky optimism. But what...
It was one of the things I really liked about this episode in particular was that they didn't just say, oh, AI is going to change jobs.
Yeah.
They really gave you a sense of the scale and the types of jobs
that were going to be affected.
Exactly. I mean, we've all heard about, like, robots replacing factory workers and stuff like that. But Dr. Sharma, she goes so much further than that. Like, she was pointing out that AI is already being used in, like, law.
Yeah, even like
and surgery.
It's crazy.
Whoa, hold on a second.
And it's not even just like the grunt work.
Right.
They were talking about, like, how it's analyzing legal documents, predicting case outcomes.
Assisting in surgeries, yeah.
Yeah. It's pushing the boundaries of what we thought machines could do.
It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing, but also kind of, like, unsettles you a little bit.
It's a little frightening.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Like, if AI can be a surgeon...
What's safe?
What is safe? Exactly. Yeah. Like, where do we even go from here?
Dr. Sharma basically argued that, like, no job is totally immune.
And she had this breakdown in the episode that I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
She estimated that, like, 40% of current jobs in the U.S. could be automated using existing technology.
40%?
40%. Think about that.
Okay, now that is a scary number.
It's almost half the workforce.
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
That is scary.
It is.
But, I mean, hasn't this, like, always been the fear with new technology? Like, I'm sure back in the day, people were like, oh, cars are going to replace horses and all these buggy drivers are going to be out of a job.
That's the classic argument.
Oh, it is.
But, and it's true. Like, we've always, historically, new jobs have come up when other ones disappeared.
Exactly.
But Dr. Sharma makes this really compelling argument for why this might be different.
Okay.
And it really comes down to the speed and the scale of AI.
Yeah.
Like, it's
happening so fast.
It's so fast. It's massive. Like,
and everywhere.
Everywhere. That she's like, we might not be able to retrain people fast enough.
Right. It's like, it's one thing to retrain, a blacksmith to work in a car factory.
Exactly.
Right. Like, that's a tangible skill set. You can
see the through line.
You can see the through line. Yeah. But what happens when it's like, okay, AI is writing code, it's composing music, it's diagnosing diseases better than humans can. What
do those people do?
Yeah.
What do you do then?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. And that's really what this Tectonic Shifts episode digs into.
Okay.
And they also get into, like, what happens if all these jobs disappear? Like, what are the consequences?
Yeah.
And they talk about, like, increased wealth inequality, even, like, social unrest.
Oh, wow.
It gets a little dark.
Yeah.
But I think it's an important conversation to have.
Oh, absolutely. We can't just, like, bury our heads in the sand and pretend this isn't happening.
Exactly.
But before we, totally spiral into a panic, it is worth noting that the entrepreneur on the podcast,
Mr. Walker, yeah. He had a bit more of an optimistic take.
Oh, yeah. He was much more optimistic.
Yeah.
He was all about, like, AI can solve all our problems.
Yeah. It can help with climate change.
Yeah. Cure diseases, go to space,
Interstellar travel.
Like, AI is the key to human flourishing.
Human flourishing. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, how do we reconcile these two viewpoints?
Right.
Is it going to be our savior, or is it going to destroy us all?
And I really appreciate that Tectonic Shifts, they don't try to give you easy answers. They're just like, this is a complicated issue,
Yeah.
Approach it with caution, but also, like, with some hope.
Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom.
No.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel, potentially.
Potentially, yeah.
Right.
I mean, it really makes you think, like, it's not just about what AI can do.
Yeah.
It's about what we want it to do.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
We're not just, like, passive bystanders here.
Exactly. We have to like shape this thing, make sure it benefits everyone, not just,
The select few, the tech overlords or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That is a really powerful message.
I think so.
And it's definitely something for us to keep in mind as we go further down this AI rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Goes deep.
It does. It really does.
Deep, deep.
So listener, buckle up because we are about to get into it.
We're just getting started.
We're just getting started.
It's gonna be good.
Okay, so like knowing all this stuff about AI, the job displacement, the economic disruption, it's like, what can we actually do?
Right.
Like, are we just powerless here?
Well, the tectonic shifts episode definitely had some thoughts on that.
Okay, good.
And they were really emphasizing that there's not just like
One solution.
one simple fix.
Right.
It's going to be like a multi-pronged approach. We got to look at the economics, the social stuff, the ethical stuff.
Yeah, it's a big, hairy problem.
It is.
So let's break it down a little bit. Let's start with like the economic side of things.
Sure.
One of the solutions they kept talking about was education and workforce training.
Oh, absolutely.
So like what do they mean by that?
Basically, they really hammered this point home that we need to invest big time
Yeah.
in programs that like actually teach people the skills they'll need in this new economy,
So it's not just about like the traditional like college degree anymore.
Not necessarily. It's about things like,
Digital literacy.
a STEM education, but also like
Lifelong learning.
lifelong learning. Exactly.
Exactly.
It's about like constantly adapting and upskilling yourself.
So you can stay ahead of the AI, basically.
Exactly. It's about working with AI, not being replaced by it.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about those people who like inevitably are going to get left behind?
Mm-hmm.
The jobs that just get completely automated.
That's a tough one. And they talked about that a lot. And they brought up this idea of like rethinking our whole social safety net.
Okay, so what does that mean? Rethinking the social safety net.
Well, they talked about like things like strengthening Social Security, maybe having more robust unemployment benefits.
Okay.
And even like exploring this concept of universal basic income.
UBI.
UBI, yeah.
I've heard that thrown around a lot.
That's a hot topic.
I don't know if I totally get it.
Sure. So basically,
Like, can you just, like, in a nutshell?
yeah, basically it's this idea that everyone gets like a guaranteed income.
Everyone.
Everyone, no matter what.
Whether you have a job or not.
Exactly. Whether you have a job or not. So it's kind of like,
A safety net
yeah, like a baseline.
for everyone.
So that like, even if there aren't enough traditional jobs.
People can still, like, live.
Exactly. You can still have a roof over your head, food on the table, the basic.
Okay, I mean, that sounds kind of radical.
It is pretty radical.
Like, is that really realistic?
Well, I mean, the episode doesn't really say like this is the solution, but they definitely present it as like
Part of the conversation?
Yeah, like we need to be talking about these things.
Okay, so it's one option on the table.
Right.
What are some other, like, less drastic things, maybe?
Well, they also talked about, things like wage subsidies,
Okay.
job sharing programs,
Yeah.
maybe even like government-funded job creation initiatives.
Oh, so like actually creating jobs.
Yeah, like if AI is taking away jobs, maybe the government needs to step in and
Fill the gap.
fill the gap. Yeah,
Interesting. Okay, so it's like it's a whole toolbox of options,
exactly.
and we need to figure out like which ones are going to work best.
Yeah, it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
We're going to have to be flexible, adaptable.
Okay, but even if we like solve all the economic problems,
Yeah.
there's still like the whole ethical side of things, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely. And the tectonic shifts episode, they really get into that too.
Okay, so what do they say about that?
Well, they really emphasize this idea of responsible AI development.
Okay.
So it's not just about like making AI that's powerful.
Yeah.
It's about making sure it's used ethically,
Okay.
making sure it's fair, transparent, accountable.
So like in real life, what does that actually mean?
Well, they give a couple of examples.
Okay.
Like, for instance, they talk about how some of these AI algorithms that are used, like in hiring or in loan approvals,
Yeah.
they can actually like unintentionally discriminate against certain groups. Yeah, like if they're trained on biased data,
Oh, okay.
they can perpetuate those
That
biases.
makes sense.
So it's about like really being aware of those potential pitfalls
Yeah.
and designing systems that are like truly fair, unbiased.
So it's not enough to just like create AI. We have to make sure it's actually used for good.
Exactly. And that brings us to like another big concern they talked about,
Oh.
which is this idea that AI could actually like make wealth inequality worse.
Oh, right. Because if only a few companies control this really powerful technology,
Exactly.
then it's just going to benefit them.
You know, we've already seen how technology can like create these
What's
massive,
the billionaires?
yeah, the mega rich, exactly.
So how do they propose we fix that? So how do we prevent that? Like how do we make sure AI doesn't just make the rich richer?
Well, it's a tough one, but the tectonic shifts episode, they actually do have some ideas.
Okay, lay it on me.
One of the things they talk about is this idea of progressive taxation,
Okay.
specifically on like AI-related profits.
Oh,
So
interesting.
basically, you know, like taxing the companies that are benefiting the most from AI
Uh-huh.
and then using that money.
To like help everyone else.
Yeah, exactly, to fund social programs, public services. Yeah.
So kind of like a Robin Hood thing, but
Yeah.
for AI.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Take from the AI-powered rich and give to the rest of us.
I like it. I like it. What else? What other ideas did they have?
They also talked about like how important it is to incentivize companies to develop AI for good, you know?
Right.
Like not just for profit,
Right.
but for like things that benefit all of humanity.
So like healthcare.
Exactly. Healthcare, education, you know, even like environmental sustainability.
Right. Solving like big
Yeah.
problems.
Oh, like let's use this powerful tool to actually like make the world a better place.
Not just line someone's pockets. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm on board with that. And then the last thing they talked about was open source AI.
Yes.
Can you remind me what exactly that is and why it matters?
Sure. So basically, open source AI is like it means that the code, the data, all the stuff that makes these AI systems work,
Yeah.
it's all like publicly available. So anyone can access it, they can modify it, they can build on it.
So it's not just like locked away in some corporation's vault.
Exactly. It's about like democratizing AI.
Okay.
So it's not just controlled by, you know, a handful of powerful companies.
So we're like for the people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like AI for everyone.
I like that a lot. I mean, this whole conversation has been like super eye-opening.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. It really is.
But
I mean,
yeah.
it's amazing to think about how much AI is already like changing things.
And it's only going to get crazier from here.
Yeah, and it's a little, I don't know, intimidating but also exciting.
It is. It's both.
Yeah.
And the tectonic shifts episode, they ended with this quote that I thought was really, really powerful.
Okay.
They said, the future hinges on how we navigate the AI revolution. It's a challenge and an opportunity.
Oh, that's good.
It is, right? It's like, it's not all set in stone. We
Yeah.
have a say in this, you know?
We do. We get to decide how we want to use this technology.
Exactly. What kind of world do we want to create with it?
What kind of future do we want? I mean, that's a question for like everyone listening, right?
Yeah, like what do you want to see happen with AI?
What problems do you want it to solve?
It's a conversation we all need to be having.
Because it's going to affect all of us.
It will. It will in big ways and small ways.
Yeah. No, that is a perfect point to end on.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. It really is. So, listener, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI.
It's been a wild ride.
It has been a wild ride, and, you know, hopefully this episode has given you a few things to ponder.
And maybe even inspired you to get involved in this whole AI conversation.
Yeah, because it's not just about the technology itself. It's about what we do with it.
It's about our choices, our values, our vision for the future.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
And on that note, we will leave you to do just that. Think, discuss, and imagine the future of AI.
The future is in our hands.
It really is. So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.